Welcome back to another episode of the Block Runner Podcast. I'm your host, William, always here with your co-host, Iman.
What's going on, dude?
On the sticks, we got TJ.
Hello.
And what we're looking at here is the Liberation Day. Happened yesterday.
It sure did.
And this is what Trump looks like today, holding up reciprocal tariffs, which is going to bring us a lot of green days, allegedly. And
when, dude? That's what we all want to know. When do things turn green again?
Why is when the most commonly asked question, dude?
Well, it's because we're not patient by nature, right?
I guess.
I mean, yeah, it'd be better if everything was green today as opposed to,
Yeah, I mean, we're in the TikTok era and nobody can wait for anything.
Yeah, but also, it's been pretty painful. You pull up the rainbow charts,
yeah.
I don't care that Bitcoin kind of squeezed into the green for a little bit. It's really we've been in the blue for this whole time. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
How long is that? 3 years?
Yeah. So we first entered blue in 2022, June 2022.
Yeah, we're about to hit a 3-year crypto winter. It feels like there was a few month period where memes,
ETFs, and then
I won't even count that. That was nothing.
Trump getting elected.
Yeah, that was pretty bullish, right? People were really excited about that. It's
Yeah.
Dude, first crypto cabinet, whoa.
Yeah.
And then it's wow, Trump coin, memes.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it. And then that quickly evaporated. So I don't count that either. It's that's all blue zone.
That was the top, right? Trump meme coin.
Some people say that, yeah. Some people actually think that was the market cycle top.
I think that was probably the president launching a meme coin. We were probably too exuberant in the meme space.
No, I know.
Because we spent a year of watching people commit atrocities in live stream on Pump.Fun, right?
Yeah, that was more the last month. But yeah, I mean, memes were being discussed and actively speculated around for more than a year. Time we spent, heads down, honed in on Bitcoin and ordinals and DMT and stuff. That's what the rest of the space was fixated on, right? It's Solana and memes. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, whenever it blew up to the point where it was unavoidable, you can no longer not look, right? This is at some point after the Murad speech.
Correct.
And then, Pump.Fun just went absolutely insane. It was all over TikTok.
Yep.
You just could not look at that point, right? So that was it.
Did you ever get hit up by family about pump tokens?
Yeah.
You did?
Yes.
Pump tokens.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a whole TikTok craze,
I guess, that's another signal right there that was the top, right?
Well, we were questioning that because we were having all kinds of family members hit us up during those times, remember?
Yeah. And I guess we were thinking at the time it was still too early for this activity to be happening, but maybe that was its own bubble.
Yeah, these things are always impossible to know, I guess. It's
I don't know, man. I think we need to be more disciplined with our family calling us about pump tokens. That's sell everything at that point.
Yeah, at least it's a local top of some kind.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But at the time, it just seemed this is, you're right. I don't know, because NFTs, whenever they crossed into the public zeitgeist, it stayed there.
It stayed there for a long time,
almost an entire year. I would say, where that was part of the public zeitgeist of
it's we finally did it.
Yeah, this is what crypto is about, right? Yeah, and then we're onboarding artists and celebrities and athletes, and everybody was in on it.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, athletes and celebrities were launching meme coins, and it didn't have the same. Yeah, it did not have the same effect.
Yeah, we're talking the A-listers were in the NFT, space.
Yeah, these were F-listers.
Tom Brady was building his own platform for autographs, NFT autographs or something like that.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber was heading a Bored Ape or something.
Right.
Eminem,
Snoop Dogg.
These are A-listers, right? But in the meme space, I mean, we're talking
dumpster tier.
Yeah, fucking Scottie Pippen. Not
Scotty.
Fractionalizing what? Like
the basketball
and shit, and saying he met Satoshi in 1993 or something. Like, come on, man. Like, that was the best we can muster this cycle. Like, that should have also told us something. Is like, even though there's signs of euphoria and exuberance, like, we haven't really brought in the right players yet. So like this isn't like the cycle, like representative meta, right?
Yeah,
this can't be it.
Right.
There's got to be
at
more.
The time it wasn't. Yeah. And still now, like, we're still expecting
something.
Yeah. So if we're seeing a bull cycle, we're expecting yellow-ish, orange maybe action here, which if Bitcoin goes up, everything else goes up as well. And so there's opportunity, the resurgence of people, human liquidity comes back.
Yeah. And the good news is there's actually a lot of people working on stuff. And that's because of this channel, we know that, right? Today, it doesn't seem like stuff that's, you wouldn't necessarily assume these things are going to hit, but you wouldn't have assumed Pump That Fund was going to be a hit either.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. I think of, something like a Zora has potential, right?
Yeah.
Maybe either it's that or some sort of other platform, like along that layer of iteration where there's like a deeper integration of Web3 tokenization vehicles to what's happening on the social layer of the internet.
Yeah, you know what?
Stuff like that.
I think what surprises me, to some extent, to a reasonable extent, how quickly the AI bubble kind of popped, because it also lasted maybe like two months or so, give or take.
Yeah.
And I would think that AI plus Web3 would be like a powerful thing in the same way digital ownership of NFTs was a powerful thing, but it didn't last very long.
Well, yeah, I don't think that space has devised, like, again, the right like product wrapper for it all. Right?
Yeah.
It was more so like just an inflection point where we all became aware that AI was a big deal.
For sure.
Like, obviously, people in the Web 2 space have known this for years now, but us Web 3ers, I think we're definitely late to the game, right? Late to the party.
Yeah.
Mostly because, a lot of this Web 3 iteration is dependent on Web 2 innovation, right? So it's kind of like we're sitting around on the sideline waiting for them to like crack out some new models, some new whatevers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some new swarm tech, some new, what do you call it? MCP? Did I get it right this time?
Yeah. Model context protocol.
Oh, finally.
Yeah.
Not MPC. Yeah. Something like this, right? Where we could start to develop and iterate like more interesting products that I get, once you tokenize these things and wrap them in our Web3 context, they start to seem more valuable, right? Than what they originally were.
Do you think that the market focus on kind of like, launching a token for free is remnants of like PTSD of like the 2017, 2021 era, where people, they want to participate on the higher upside rather than pay to creators or potentially VC tokens? Or do you think it's like a PTSD, or are we talking about a whole new set of group of people?
I think it's a better product overall.
Really?
Don't you think? Yeah, it's like for one, immediately, like the first net gain I see if we have like a systemic like freemium model to all speculation on chain, speculative markets, is for sure you don't have like SEC like scrutiny at that point, right?
Yeah, that's one option, one positive aspect of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the idea of selling anything in like in a speculative market like peaks regulatory scrutiny, right? You, of course, you could do these mental gymnastics around, but it's not an enterprise, bro. Stuff like that. We're just artists over here, man.
Yeah.
We're not selling speculative vehicles at all, dude. Shit like that, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, so therefore, leave us alone. But if you're objectively like not taking anyone's money at all, and you're still like introducing spec creations that can be, the market can participate and speculate on the value of that.
Yeah, which presented a new problem when that took off, was that it didn't really incentivize creators to make anything.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a better it's better for these reasons, a better product overall. It's more conducive to like more participants, right? Not everybody has hundreds of dollars to shell out for an art mint.
Right.
Right. Think about the world, right? $200 mint. That's like half of somebody's like weekly salary.
Yeah.
Right. In most corners of Earth.
Yeah.
So you're literally like excluding the majority of humanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
With this type of market. So it's a better product, but yeah, you're right. What the outcome of that is like ass tier like production.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like
nothing.
Nobody can make anything because nobody's making any. The creators aren't making any money.
Yeah.
Right? So there is that equilibrium that needs to be like really discovered. Right?
Yeah, and Murad really contributed to this ethos because he says that every token is a meme token.
Yes, I think that's what he said.
Yeah, and then on top of that, there are tokens that start at ridiculous market caps, and when people buy them, it just depresses the price, right? And so he was like, "Well, just launch a true meme coin, and then you allow the community to participate at the very beginning, and everyone wins in that scenario." The problem is that there's no development.
Yeah.
Right. But now we're starting to see kind of like an evolution of this where we're seeing developers start to direct the energy of a DEX volume to the creators. And this is still extremely early days. We haven't seen a successful implementation of this, like to a large extent, but there are people working on it. Some applications have already been completed that do this. But if the product is free and fair and you want to supply creators with fuel, then this would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
Because what happens is the creator it has the same incentive alignment with the community, right? The creator has tokens, the community has tokens, and everyone got in at the bottom. But as volume happens on the DEX, the fees of the DEX go to the creator, and therefore the creator doesn't have to sell tokens.
Exactly. Yeah, to me that seems like a great product.
Yeah.
A great user experience, right? Again, the ticket to entry is reduced significantly, and like you still have all these market opportunities that you could apply these and like a lot of different like verticals of like, you know, value discovery, right? Whether it's like metaverse centric, social, fucking physical products, real world assets, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But you gotta like implement the right, I guess, like mechanisms in place to, you know, where things can't just easily be, you know, gamed or controlled.
Right, right.
That's the other like issue that Pump.Fun clearly like demonstrated, right? It's like there's market demand in this product. You know, it fits like the demographic that's probably been like sidelined. They've been waiting for opportunity, but then once like, you know, I guess the more industry savvies figured it out and became aware of it, they came in and they essentially like
nuked it all.
Yeah, they took it over, dude.
Yeah.
And we knew that was going to happen at some point, right? This is what happens.
It turned into an insider game, right? Influencers were getting access to contract addresses, and then the more technically savvy were sniping pretty much every single token that had seeded liquidity.
Yeah, this happens every cycle, right? With like whenever NFT, PFP launches became the meta, it's like,
hey, this website looks like that website. And then it's like all of a sudden the same team is launching new art projects like on a weekly basis, extracting millions of dollars each time they launch.
Yeah. And they kept running that until like they could no longer do that. Right. And yeah. And then like, you know, some of these bigger ones, they were sniped by bots as well.
Yeah.
It's just like what you're even seeing this like in the Pokemon market, dude. It's like whenever
people running to like Costco and like
fucking
spamming that machine,
straight Mortal Kombat, dude, just to like get their hands on an elite trainer box, dude. It's fucking insane. But I get it, dude. Every time I go to my local HEB, dude, I check that fucking Pokemon vending machine.
It's always empty.
It's always sold out, dude. So I understand the frustration and like.
I think it's interesting they created a Pokemon vending machine.
I think, it's unfortunate though, because it's just
it's an empty box all the time.
Yeah. It's just a reminder of like a broken market, you know? It's like everybody who just wants to experience the joy, right? Of like breaking one of these like TCG containers.
Yeah.
Can't do that no more because it's the market's just too hot, right? And what happens is like, forces a symbol to corner it. They show up, snipe the supply
right
before retail can get their hands on it. And guess what? You got to go to eBay, pay 3 times the price.
Yeah,
that sucks, dude. That actually, so in light of that, the Pokemon bubble is probably about to burst.
Right.
Those are top signals, right?
Yeah. So we see this in the physical realm. We see it in crypto. We see it in stocks as well, right? So it isn't anything new, but I feel like in crypto you can actually solve these problems technically. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if pump.fun and sniping has been solved, which I don't think it has.
No.
So there's still some issues.
Yeah.
But now with the focus of creators, I think we can have a resurgence of actual development of any kind, right? Whether it's art, applications.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what should we be creating, or what should we hope to be creating, or if these mechanisms that we're working on as an industry, they prove useful.
Yeah,
liquidity.
So
aggregation.
Imagine that this this alignment between creators and the community actually comes true. And the community is as enthusiastic about a PFP deployment, and everyone gets to participate at the bottom, and the volume goes to fund the creator, which indicates that there's a whole lot of interest within this collection. Mm-hmm. Then everyone gets to participate on the upside, and I feel like that's a good recipe for a mania here.
Yeah, it is interesting. The founders of Zora have differing opinions. No, because collectability is still important.
Yeah, I think so.
NFTs are still awesome, I think.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, people like the idea of owning uniqueness. Yeah, you can create a product image. If you go to Zora, the idea of it is create a post or either it's a photograph that bus. Mm-hmm. Right? It's I don't know, for whatever reason, this might resonate with humanity. They see this and, but the mechanic here is you don't expect to own a fraction of this collection, right? This is it. This is the idea that we're speculating and arriving to some sort of point of value discovery by purchasing a fungible token that is associated to this bus, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, the same thing you do when you buy a meme coin. It's some ticker resonates, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a funny joke. People like to make fun of JD Vance and his chubby cheeks. So chubby cheek coin commence, right?
Right.
But this is, but yeah, I think you could have this, but also have, again, you should have both spectrums, right? Where you could speculate on the fungible value, I guess, because it's more liquid, it's more efficient in the market space, but still distribute something of collectible value.
Sure.
To that community, right?
Yeah, I was gonna show you is people are still interested in in collectibles, and I want to show you an example. There was this tweet by Magic Eaton, and it was asking, hey, which cat is better, or which is the best cat?
Oh, yeah, of course.
And
I already know the answer.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think everybody knows the answer. Best cats on BTC, Nat Cats, winning by a landslide.
Dude. Claps, dude. I'm glad.
Applause.
Yeah, there it is. Woo! How many votes is that? Almost 1,000.
Almost 1,000, yeah. Statistically relevant.
Yeah. I'm glad the Nat Cat community showed up. They showed out. They went.
They did.
And if you open the comments, it's even more obvious, but
yeah.
Look at
this. Outer Studios coming in with a haymaker, dude.
I don't see Gizmo doing that, dude.
No.
I don't see a quantum cat in the metaverse murking fools in first-person style, dude. That's not happening, dude. That happens in the DMT realm.
That's
only,
right.
Right?
We got lasers. We got cats smoking.
We got zombies. We got degenerate smokers. We got royalty.
Right.
With wearing M crowns. We got cross-eyed. I mean, there's other cats on Bitcoin too. We're not hating, right? Yeah, Billy Cats. Billy Cats. Okay, Will's hating.
Snooze.
Quantum cats.
Snooze.
That's the ultimate snooze, to be honest. I mean, that should be the most telling of things. I mean, Quantum Cats is the highest market cap cat on Bitcoin, and nobody's showing up to defend that collection. And that's just because the world is weird, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And they spent
markets are irrational.
20 grand for their cat.
Something like that.
And it's down 25%, 30%, whatever it is.
Yeah. These people minted their cats basically for free. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Free
is
right. better.
This is good evidence.
This is good evidence. People enjoy a product that they basically paid close to nothing for. And then they became a participant in this realm of market viability testing and value discovery. Right. And it's up there in the conversation with something that people clearly overpaid for. 20 grand for something that's not even close to as cool.
Such a good point. Good data, good evidence.
Yeah, it's the better product overall. And again, it attracts, fine, whatever. You want to spend 20 grand on an art piece, you get to circle jerk with your 1,000, 2,000 other, delusionals that think this is something valuable, right?
Yeah.
But, something that's more accessible, you have access to, especially if you have a tangible meme coin associated to this thing.
Dude.
I mean, you can have hundreds of thousands of people that can resonate and vibe.
Yeah,
with your thing, right?
And be aligned for the number to go up. Everyone wins.
Yeah, basically. And then I think with this, we have I don't know. I think we're getting somewhere, dude. We're getting to an actual culture discovery mechanism. Hopefully something with a little bit more longevity. Multi-cyclical support, especially in the DMT space, because that's what separates DMT collectibles from arbitrary ones. Is this thing has forever relevance because, when patterns occur in the future on Bitcoin, new supply is generated. Yeah. And that's kind of it's a value add that people just don't understand. Expansionary supplies are a good thing, especially in the context of non-fungibles, right? It's it keeps things fresh forever.
Yeah. And not only that, it's not up to anybody. When it expands, it's completely up to Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's so much cooler than Bored Apes have been sitting on the same 10,000 Bored Apes. And if they even dare to add a single one into the future, they've disrupted the entire.
They kind of did with mutant apes, right?
Well, that's a whole separate collection. Yeah.
Still, it's still the same thing. And then Azuki, they added to the collection. It was a different collection, but nonetheless.
Yeah, but those were I don't know. Not the same. It doesn't have the same Riz,
Right. No, I get it. The collection itself didn't.
I don't think Riz was the right word, by the way.
Yeah.
Definitely not Gen Z approved. Riz, no. I don't know.
But ultimately, when creators add to their creations, it's a net negative. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Well, it's because of the current day, market psychology. It's just, you come to expect and only appreciate the idea of scarcity, right? You want, if anything, if you want to impose a burn mechanic to reduce the supply, therefore there's a perception of value there, which I get it is very aligned with
there's also
humanity.
Diminishing of a community if you burn supplies like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so
yeah, surprising. So not surprising, Nat Cats won this tally or whatever.
Yeah,
very cool to see.
Yeah, so good example of free and fair, people still interested in collectibles and participating on the upside potential of a collectible that's free and fair, right?
Yeah, so what, you think this, once we figure out, how to establish that equilibrium and to unite the fungible and non-fungible realm, is that going to be what brings NFTs back?
Yeah, so I mean that is what we're working on, is sort of understanding the market and creating an update to where it allows creators and developers to deploy whatever it is that they want to deploy in a way that fits the current market conditions, where it still allows them to generate some income to build out the thing that they want to build, or service the art collection associated with a fungible token that gets seeded to a DEX, and have the whole ecosystem right there on a single launch. Right. So we do think that is the most viable approach. And I mean, we do plenty of research to suggest that, others kind of working on similar things, but not in the same way. Everyone seems to be focused on the creators. So, we think that's a net positive, and we're actively working on it as well. So I think that's all the data that we need to really, execute on that decision. But how we do it could include track network and deploying a good user experience on this network that is about to be launched here in the next couple of, I would say, week or so.
Yeah.
With Hypermall.
Right.
So there's tons of ways to kind of skin a cat, but you got to skin a cat in whatever way that you can, and let the product fly and see what happens. But yeah, our focus has always been to fund creators, let them build whatever it is that they think should be built, and they always tend to do a better job than what we do.
I would have to agree with that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were talking about kind of tariffs earlier, and there was this tweet that I wanted to read out that I thought sort of aligned my understanding with what this is kind of culminating into, and why we should not be so sad.
Who's sad?
The whole planet is sad. It feels like.
Well,
everyone's like emo at the moment.
Well, it's because they're like, this is like, I don't know. Like, we've been experiencing depression for a while now.
Yeah, I mean, we go back to the chart. We said it's like 3 years of depression.
That's what it feels like. There was like a little moment where like things got a little silly in the meme market, but to me, this has been a 3-year crypto winter, dude. Like, and that's something you would expect after something as bad as like an FTX and all that.
Yeah.
So it's a justified. I mean, the last time we had like a 3-year winter was post Mt. Gox, right? And that's what led to 2017 like cycle. And there's a lot of parallels, right?
Are you saying we're gonna have a 2017-esque
red zone?
Red zone?
God, I don't want to say that because that might influence your decision to buy or sell, like Bitcoin. But like, look at that. That's a 3-year winter. We just barely squeaked out of the blue zone, but I think this is basically what we've just experienced for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And like, again, Bitcoin didn't really start to pick up until like middle of the year, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so I'm anticipating something very like closely aligned to this.
I mean, I can see that happening. I wouldn't wait for a red.
Wait for what?
Wait for the price to get to red.
Oh, like to like exit all markets?
Right.
No, definitely not. I mean, if you've been around long enough, you clip out, you clip on the way out.
Correct.
Right?
Dollar cost average out.
And in, right? Just like on the way down, you're clipping in, and then you just have to exercise maximum human patience, dude.
And discipline.
Yeah, discipline. Yeah, to like not buy into like, I don't know, false narratives and such.
So you're saying that we could get to, what is it, at the end of the year, say $300,000 Bitcoin if we get into the red.
I am saying that actually.
I like the enthusiasm, dude.
You heard it here, dude. Guaranteed.
You don't believe that?
No, I'm yes, it can.
Yeah.
It can.
If not, what's the point of these fucking rainbows, dude? Is the red like tranche not there for like a reason?
Yeah,
like, it's letting you know like this is the top end, like realistic zone. It can achieve, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually seeing on Twitter, this $444,000 number, which is well beyond the red zone.
Well, what is the significance? Reasoning, I guess.
I don't quite remember, other than the fact that we have bullish macro conditions. That's as far as I remember. There was some sort of theory out there. As a matter of fact, I think it was some guy who was predicting 444,000 who predicted it would reach like $100,000 at a particular moment in time, and he was right, and so now they're making him into a prophet. And so as a prophet, he's saying 444,000 is programmed.
Wow.
And so that's his sentiment.
It's the hopium I need, dude.
Yeah, I guess we could all use
going.
I agree. We could all use it at this point, right?
Right.
But like for the rest of the world, like they're just now experiencing some pain. It's like their 401s are down 5%, It's like fucking sky's falling over there, dude. But I get it, it's like, yeah, it's different worlds, right?
Yeah.
But to us, it's like, whatever, dude. We're already living in misery.
So
Trump can do us no harm at this point.
Yeah. So what is happening, and why is it happening, and where are we going? So there's this guy, it's just a random person, but I agree with what he's saying. He says, this is correct. When you think of the broader strategy which the Trump administration has been trumpeting, no pun intended, ad nauseum. Tariffs only play a part. This is how I see it. In no particular order, input tariffs to drive domestic production, right? So tariffs mean produce content within the country. That's what that means. Institute tax cuts to spur economic growth. Take control of shipping lanes for new global shipping, e.g. Greenland and Panama. Drive down government spending. Reduce interest rates to free up capital and lower interest paid on the national debt, which is, I think, the macro strategy that's happening here. And then drive down energy prices to increase growth as well. So when you consider all these elements, they will amount to a crescendo of economic boom unlike anything the world has ever seen.
Wow.
It's a risk, but if it works, every American could become wealthy.
Every single one, dude. We're going to be fucking on yachts by this time next year, dude.
That's what he said.
I mean, are we not already wealthy? Right.
I mean, we're definitely on the wealthy side of things on the planet Earth.
Yeah, so I guess it's more like, America can preserve its wealth. It's really the goal here.
Yeah.
I don't think America's in like we need more wealth. It's like we need to not have this shit collapse completely. So like we're like fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right. We're pretty good. We're sitting pretty pretty right now. It's not about like getting more. It's just,
It's about not losing first place.
Yeah, because there's been like this perpetuation for as long as we've been paying attention to it. Like,
yeah. And the can keeps getting kicked down the road.
Yeah, this can kickening. Yeah. Right. Where these core issues are like basically always overlooked, right? This ever increasing national debt, this like expanding deficit, every single like cabinet that comes in, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like underlying, I guess, things that contribute to this. But I guess no party up until now has like really tried to tackle it. Maybe because, I mean, on paper, this looks like one of the, like the bigger, like riskier economic initiatives I've seen, like a president kind of like.
I agree.
Like, shoot their shot at.
Yeah, I agree.
And I agree with like public sentiment. Like it's a scary time to be doing something like this. This probably should have been done like years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right, to try and like be a little bit more, what's the word, like preemptive?
Preemptive is a good word, but I want to say not practical, but what's the other word with a P?
I don't know.
Practical, pragmatic.
Yeah, but I guess like I don't know. So this is
So you're saying this is what needed to be happening throughout.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not like
an economist.
Yeah, I'm not like an expert. I don't have a PhD in econ, 101.
Right.
But it just, like the timing of now, it seems like a dangerous like experiment to run, right? But maybe like if it's not done, then like collapse is guaranteed potentially.
Yeah, but I think my point here is that I feel like there's a method to the madness. This isn't just like random things. Yeah. Like let's just institute tariffs. Let's just do all these things. And no, I think there's a goal here, and it really is culminating to what seems like sometime in June, there's going to be the debt will be refinanced. And it has to be refinanced, and if the interest rates of that refinancement isn't lower, then we're going to be paying more in interest than the actual principal of the debt. And so if Trump with power, if he could just depress the interest rates, then he could refinance at a lower rate and therefore make it more viable to recover these payments for the debt. So we're talking only about $7 trillion out of the $30 trillion in debt, but that is, I think, what is eligible to be refinanced in June.
Right.
And so once that happens at a lower interest rate, which seems to be coming true, right, then we're going to see how every American is going to become extremely wealthy.
Can't wait.
Because jobs and because opportunity.
Yeah, but some people have been saying like, dude, these aren't even the jobs we want. Right. That's what I've been hearing those takes. It's like, America is a country for tech entrepreneurs, not for fucking warehouse laborers and like
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like the idea of bringing jobs to the United States, where it's like mostly manufacturing, is a moot point because humans shouldn't be in these facilities anyways, and there won't be for that much longer at all with Optimus and all these other robots coming into the ecosystem.
So what if so? Then you're saying like
it's a moot point, the fact that there's manufacturing in the United States,
right? But there's so what should be the focus then? The center?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like right now, Apple, Meta, they've like invested like basically together just $1 trillion into the United States manufacturing, all kinds of things. And, you know, in that manufacturing facility, there's probably not going to be a ton of humans in it like for that much longer.
Yeah, but human or not, like it doesn't matter, right? Like if it's a factory in China or Taiwan that's completely automated and without human labor.
But the products over there have 20-30% taxes, and the products over here made here don't have that that same implication.
Right.
So
it's not a question of like whether human beings should be doing this or not. It's just like,
well, the pitch is that do it here in the United States so that you create jobs. And so what I'm saying is the jobs that are created as a result won't be as many as you would hope.
They're going to get cut at some point.
Right.
Like Apple will set up like this new chip manufacturing facility that's like 20,000 people have like a new job.
Yeah.
And then within the next 5 years, they'll all be laid off.
Pretty much.
Because they'll be robos.
Yeah.
But still, even with the robos, it's like they don't have to, pay those Taiwanese, import
correct
tariffs, I guess.
Yeah, correct.
Whatever. I don't know. This is a complex issue. I mean, it's like geopolitical posturing in a sense. You should have expected this if you voted for Trump.
Yeah.
He's definitely a man that postures,
Yeah.
He definitely doesn't want to like lose in any regard. And, he's the head of this country at this point. And he's seeing like, the country is losing. And look at his chart, dude. And the reciprocal battle here.
Yeah.
It's like America is getting like taxed up the ass when it comes to,
Yeah, you're talking about this chart. These are reciprocal tariffs.
Yeah, that's not even like, wait, what is this?
And so this was
Is this like AI generated?
No, that's Trump, dude. That's what Trump looks like.
It's actually what he looks like.
So Matt and Trey, drew this from South Park. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, but the point is that roughly it's like reciprocal tariffs, but roughly at 50%.
Yeah, correct.
Roughly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this is what I guess. Whatever, dude. Yeah, just wait and see. That's my stance. Again, like I can't weigh in like whether or not this is
good or bad, or this is a good strategy or bad strategy.
I mean, it seems fair if those numbers are accurate. I mean, I don't know. We're just going by a poster card here. But if those numbers are true and not like AI generated, like people are postulating.
Yeah.
They say like vibe coded that fucking poster board. then yeah, like that's not right. Right? Just by looking at those numbers, that doesn't look right.
Yeah, I agree.
And the settling at 50%, like reciprocality, that seems reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell everyone's freaking out about.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It seems like, the world found a little bit more equilibrium.
Yeah.
That should be bullish.
Yeah.
I
totally agree. I feel like people are putting too much emphasis on this event, and
it's
just the emotions, right? Humans are emotional, and
it's also like the market probably needed an excuse to like find its correction, not necessarily crypto, but like the broader macro markets. It's been like on a steamer for a while now. AI tech bubble, all this stuff.
Yeah,
it's like we need some reason to like cool off. Right.
Yeah, and part of the functionality of these charts is not only to measure the value of an asset, but also to measure the psychology of what's going on with that asset.
Yeah.
And so
pull up a S&P chart, can you?
S&P? Yeah.
Yeah, go to TradingView or something. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think like a stonk chart would be more representative of like the actual psychology happening around these news events. been a while since I cracked this one open, dude.
Yeah, let's look at the last year.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's okay. Let's look at
this is the correction you're talking about right here.
Let's look at 5 years. Yeah. Yeah. See?
Yeah.
You need one of these like cooler periods, right? So that the continuation can follow, right? I mean,
that's right.
We have AI here, guys. So we need to kind of like regroup. Yeah, see, look at that. We need to regroup and find like a corrected state and normalize some of the valuations of things before AI really kicks in.
Yeah.
And changes everything, because then everything's gonna like really expand and accelerate very quickly.
Yeah, if you thought this chart was ridiculous because it's going parabolic, AI is going to continue this parabolic trend.
Oh, 100%.
And it's going to be glorious. It's going to mean a shit ton of job losses and
wow, that's glory.
It'll be great.
A lot of people like on the streets don't know what to do with their lives, completely void of, life purpose,
motivation. Yeah.
It's fucking amazing stuff.
But
dude.
You won't have to be stuck at McDonald's, like tossing burgers or, the AI will do it for us, and they'll do it at 10x cheaper the cost.
Yeah, but not like that same day, dude.
No, not
it's like by the time McDonald's lays off their workforce, it's like there's going to be a period of strife where like human has to again reestablish its involvement in things.
Yeah, but that'll give humanity a moment to reassess.
Go on like an acid trip.
Their like, purpose.
Walk the earth. Like just roam and like gather your thoughts, humanity, and like find yourself.
Right. That's a good thing.
Maybe that's actually an interesting like way to look at it. That might be like what the hippie renaissance was, but like a 2.0.
Yes.
That's something like that. Like a global hippie movement. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I feel like that's a good thing because
you better start growing your magic mushrooms in anticipation, everybody, because we're gonna need them.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's a this is the result of like the progress of technology, right? Since technology has arisen, right, since the Industrial Revolution, you've seen progress get better, and also jobs just translate to different industries.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe this is actually like a big opportunity for us to like become more introspective as a species and find our spirituality, right?
Yeah.
If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like that's like the tippity top, but you got to get past like all this like friction, which is like, the laborious stuff.
Yeah. Sustaining your existence.
Sustainment stuff, which most of us were tackled with like for our entire life. So we never get to the point where we can have clarity of thought and energy.
Yeah.
So where, I can actually recognize my being. Right?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be the end game, right? So maybe we're all like headed into like some grand enlightenment period as a species.
I think
right before we get mass executed, it's like the perfect way out, dude.
Yeah. I was gonna say okay, Elon, but that's
Elon.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because he
says the same shit.
No, he does not. Say. No, but apparently he's a Nazi, so that's what I'm seeing on Twitter.
What did I say? Nazi like propaganda or what?
Well, you're saying that we're gonna execute everybody, right?
No, the AI, dude.
Oh, AI.
Like before we get massively
this really
executed.
went off the rails.
I see. Okay.
I'm trying to find like a positive angle here to like,
Yet it leads to an execution.
Well, that's unavoidable. But I'm saying though, it'll be like a much more pleasant one because we'll have a period of like,
I see,
enlightenment before the AI turns on us.
Gotcha.
It's like now they're all like happy and drugged out of their minds.
It's time to execute.
Time to execute. Kill switched, engaged. Operation Kill.
And that's the future we want. That's the crazy thing.
That's the glory you're talking about.
It is
glory days, dude.
Because as probable as that may seem, there's an equal chance that we might actually like be in this euphoric state, and have all these like concerns about sustainability and all this stuff completely eradicated because of AI. We got AI solving protein folding problems. Eventually, it's going to solve all kinds of manufacturing.
Yeah.
And then everything becomes 1,000 times cheaper to produce. And then nanotechnology becomes a viable technology. And then we can produce pretty much anything with nanotech.
I mean, this is why it's unavoidable, right? You can't not take that deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you got a 50% shot where you have AI completely eliminating human race, and then a 50% shot where AI enables liberation for real, so you take that bet every time.
I think so. I think that's what. Yeah, I would take those odds. I think Elon said it's more like 30-70, but
30-70, 70% good outcome, 30% bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's trying not to alarm people with like the actualities of this.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, even better, right? 30-70 for sure. Yeah, if that means cancer solved.
Yeah, 100%.
That means like hunger across the board.
Yep. Housing.
Good stuff, dude.
Tech gets better.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
We're like regularly just floating around in space just for funsies.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's pretty cool. Yeah, man. So we're all here for it. You know, somehow crypto is going to play a role in all this.
Yeah, we don't know how. But
we're trying our best to find that how, dude. You know, we're doing our weekly AI investigations.
Roundups. Yeah.
At some point, it's going to hit. You know, it has to. Right?
But you know what's cool is that every time we do this roundup, there's always like progress.
Of course. Yeah.
And, you know, without that, it's like, otherwise, how do we help find people opportunities, dude? If we don't see this progress, especially in the AI space. And AI and Web3, I think, is probably one of the more interesting intersections in all industries.
Yeah. I guess it's harder in real time to understand how we find these opportunities. I don't know. But looking back, clearly we tend to stumble onto them. Right? Like last cycle was like, you know, it was clear that Ethereum needed to scale after CryptoKitties like really fucked things up. And we were like building in Decentraland. It's like, dude, we can't even build anything because like none of our games function because it's just too expensive.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, people are proposing these L2 things, you know, and then Matic shows up.
Yeah.
And there were a few others, and we talked about them all, right? We gave them all equal like coverage, I would say.
We did.
We didn't like lean towards any of them. It's just
it was XDAI and Matic.
There was like Scale.
Scale was another one.
There's maybe like another one sprinkled in there too, but it was like, you know what? Something's got to give. So this is viable.
Yeah, and it's because we run into problems before the market has a solution for it. And so therefore we're looking for those solutions and therefore spot opportunities as a result.
Yeah, but it's not like, with that Matic overview of a video came like, you know, 20 other videos around that time where we're covering other things, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like everything we look at on this channel is going to be like the next 1000x or whatever.
Right.
But some of them will.
Yep. We've seen it already.
Yeah. But it's hard to know which of the things we've been talking about recently will be that thing, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, but you got to be able to, have the ability to find them before you even have a shot. It's sort of like if you want to win the lottery, you have to actually kind of have to play.
Right.
And so, that is the value of what we do in like at least the 20-minute sections. But I wanted to show you this, and a lot of people are starting to talk about this on Twitter, that Bitcoin is recently having a lot of empty blocks.
Yeah, I've been noticing that, dude.
And the last week or so, we go to mempool.space, and we see that this has largely been empty, like over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a pretty rampant increase in like the chatter on X around, the Bitcoin mining situation, right?
Yeah, and you know what's interesting about this is it seems that people are sweeping this under the rug. Like this is not a problem.
Some people. Yeah, but
some people, yeah.
Others, like there was a pretty big miner, right? The Brains mining.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be cool to like talk to all these guys. That's
Jack Dorsey. He did there was a interview, and there was like a 20-second segment where he was talking about how Bitcoin should be a payments network.
Yeah, we posted a a note to the miners. Here it is. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we should read it's kind of long.
It's kind of long, but this is a podcast.
You want to read it, dude? No, let's not do that. You guys could go find it. It was essentially, it's like it's a declaration, right? It's like not even. It's just acknowledgement that, clearly there's like I don't know. There's like a beginnings to some sort of awareness phase where people are like anxiety's creeping in on the potential future ramifications of some aspects of Bitcoin mining that may not be sustainable, contingent on many variables, right?
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, it's like if it has like big miners concerned, it's
has our attention.
I think it begs for some type of solution or like at least proposals for solutions at this point.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this heavily over the last couple of weeks, especially looking at the mempool just be largely empty. And even when it's not empty, the fees are in, let's say, the thousands maybe per block.
Yeah.
Which is good, but not good enough to sustain the network long term.
Yeah.
And so I've been thinking about this, and I cannot see another way where Bitcoin becomes sustainable. Other than that.
Hold on. Become sustainable? What do you mean?
So become sustainable without the subsidy.
Okay. So you have to, so it's you're declaring it's definitively not sustainable, Bitcoin.
It looks like it's not.
Okay.
Yeah. Why? Because if you look at some of the other tweets here, let's see this one here. Look at that. Bitcoin's hash rate hits an all-time high, right? Which is good, right? That's what you want. A more secure network, right? Store of value. That's what you want. So just because we've hit an all-time high doesn't mean that people are spending more money to secure it. It could be just an efficiency thing. They released new miners, and the existing miners kind of hot swapped their machines for more efficient. So you get higher hash power, less the cost, and therefore, negligible change to their operational costs. So in other words, just because hash power goes up doesn't mean the cost of the network goes up. But with enough time, if hash power continues to go up, you can sort of see the trend line that the operational cost continues to go up. So with that, and when there's no subsidy, then, how do you sustain the network if this becomes a store of value sort of asset? So, and that's why what we've done is we've directed the NAT token to the miners as a second subsidy that perpetuates even beyond the subsidy of Bitcoin. So once we reach a no subsidy zone, the NAT token will still be directed to miners as a way to contribute the sustainability of the network. But the most interesting thing is not a whole lot of people are talking about the problem, even though I feel like it's basically staring everybody right in the eye for those that are looking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just there's a lot of bag holders out there, dude. Typically, when you hold bags, you don't want to you don't want to address FUD vectors,
For sure. I definitely get that. I do. But someone needs to address this problem.
Well, somehow we've been positioned to be like part of that crew, right? Someone needs to make this more obvious.
Yeah.
We've been bestowed into this category of someone's, right?
Right.
For whatever reason, right? A couple of years ago we had no to the degree of this depth of understanding of how Bitcoin works.
Well, not only that, before ordinals, every now and then we would talk about Bitcoin because it is a huge signal indicator for the market, right?
Right.
When we did, nobody would pay attention to those videos.
That's true.
It was when we were talking about other stuff happening in crypto, we would get more views and more interest.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin was just overall not interesting from our audience perspective.
I would agree with that.
Right. And so, but now things are different. With ordinals, there was a ton of opportunity. There was a lot of interest in, the videos that we were making. And then, with this DMT thing, and then really looking at Bitcoin and looking at it from a sustainability standpoint, like I just don't see this working, right, long term. And so, yeah, you could say Bitcoin can just continue doubling, but at some point it won't double. And then what do? You still have to have a network. You still have to have miners. You still have to continue producing blocks. And at the same time, technology continues to become more efficient, more powerful. And there's going to be new entrants to Bitcoin miners, to Bitcoin mining. And they become the higher hash power share of the network. But they still have to pay for their sustainability, right? So if they're not earning subsidies, what are they earning? And if it's not fees, what is it?
Right.
So it's like...
Well, then Jack Dorsey steps in and says, we need to develop a better Lightning layer, right? So that
but even
people
then...
are more encouraged to transact Bitcoin.
But even then, that's not enough fees to pay for the network, because they essentially get rolled up into a single transaction on Bitcoin.
Well... Yeah, but like with higher velocity means more rolled up transactions, right?
Not necessarily. No, higher velocity is like I pay you, you pay TJ, TJ pays me, and then we sort of reconcile the transactions that occur, and then ultimately it's like on the Bitcoin network, Bitcoin went from one address to the other address, and like that's it.
Right.
And so I don't see transactions, especially on the Lightning network, really sustaining like the fee requirements here.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. Again, we're part of this conversation, so we have to I guess better articulate all the possible alternate scenarios, because we have a deep vested interest in like Bitcoin's sustainability now, right? If we're building a framework on top of it that has these forever implications. If you can like build a credible thesis for especially like a metaverse layer on top of Bitmap, and if you want something like an AI agent economy proliferated throughout that has like a shared understanding, like, okay, because this metaverse is built on this primitive of DMT that is aligned to Bitcoin, and we understand that Bitcoin is going to be indefinitely sustainable even beyond this 2140 horizon where it objectively could not be sustainable, right? It might not work at all.
Yeah.
For the AI will be intelligent enough to understand the feasibility of their own reality, right? It's like, the existence layer I'm operating on might cease to exist in some point in the future, right? That's their version of like a heat death.
Yeah, correct.
Right? It's like our own reality is subject to like a finality point as well.
It is.
Right? But luckily, that's like so far into the future. It's like we don't have to like.
Yeah, in really about 1 billion years, the sun will get hot enough to like vaporize Earth.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And at some point, like the whole universe, like
freezes
or something, right? Yeah. So, these same like I don't know, expectations of viability and sustainability. It's like a fundamental ingredient for, something like economic success, I would imagine.
For sure. Yeah, when you're talking about like 1 billion years, like you don't really need to sustain anything at that point. But we're talking about, the subsidy ends in 2140, so we have about 115 years. But I feel like this will become a problem like within the next 2 halvening cycles.
Yeah, or at least like at least like a main discussion point, right?
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a direct sort of an address to this problem within those 2 time frames. But nonetheless, I mean, we figured that the community of Bitcoin would contribute to a solution here, and we are part of that community. And here's our contribution with the NAT token. We think it's a reasonable one. I don't think it's going to be enough to completely sustain the Bitcoin network by itself, but it could create a new meta where miners start participating on the upside of fungible tokens in the same way they participate on the upside of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But it won't be just a single like subsidy token. It could be thousands of subsidy tokens.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, and then all of it is like actually contributes to sustaining Bitcoin and making it more secure, right? And that's what you want. But yeah, that's the podcast for today. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you join our Twitter, follow our Twitter, and join our Discord. We have tons of conversations in there. And if you are interested in the NAT token, if you go to @NatGMI, there's a link to the Telegram account. We have a few hundred people in there, and the conversation is hot and heavy all the time.
Yeah, shout out to the Telegram crew.
Yeah, and then pretty soon the NAT token will be accessible on nonkyc.io, which is an exchange, and opportunity is there for people to acquire this asset in a much easier way. But I appreciate you guys for watching, and we will catch you in the next podcast.
Peace.